Yeah, how do you get your run defense to where you want it? I mean, it looks like the Patriots got the edge, probably a lot more than you wanted them to the other day.
Yeah, especially in the third quarter there. I think consistency is probably the biggest thing we're looking for. I think we played dominant at times the other day for 9 drives, and then specifically, the end of that 7th drive and then that 8th drive, they got after us a little bit, and we were obviously able to cool it down. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is consistency. We're still looking for, obviously, just that complete game. As I said, we played 11 drives the other day, and I think 9 of them were pretty darn good. Other than the opening drive, giving up those 3 points. They punted 7 times. We got a takeaway, but those 2 drives, we had some lapses, and I mean, it was, we turned it into much more of a dramatic game than it needed to be.
When you look at Barkley, what is it? First, just what makes him so effective, and also his yards per carry are significantly higher than they were last year. Is it just a matter of health, or what's the difference?
You know what? That's it is. I mean, he's like 5.5, I think, per carry right now, and I do think it's historically proven that anytime doesn't matter what position you play, but definitely when you play a skill position, that second year after an ACL, and I don't personally know him, but I've been, my daughter swam at Penn State, so I've been following Saquon. He was a year older than her, so I've been watching him since he's been in college, and phenomenal player, phenomenal talent. He's got he's explosive, he's big, they do a great job with him throwing the ball as well, so they find ways to get him the ball, not just turning around and handing him the ball, which he's the best in our business right now, statistically. So he's just an all-round complete back, and it's got to be a collective group effort this week, because you can't tackle that guy with one person. It's got to be population to the ball, but unbelievable player, unbelievable talent.
Joe, Matt mentioned talking to you about stacking the box more on obvious running plays. I understand it's not that simple, because if you do that, the other team can just pass the ball. What's the balance there, and what's kind of that conversation like?
It is, it's a fine line. They do a great job, as do most offenses. They're not going to give you many tells. They're going to try to keep everything pretty much 50-50. And it doesn't matter if we're in, a run front or a run pressure, or if we're in more of a pass, coverage of defense. We got to be able to stop the run equally as well. We got to be able to stop the pass equally as well. But the challenge lies when you got a back like that, as I mentioned. It's not just on the front or the linebackers or the safeties. It's, all 11 guys have to tackle this week when you play against a back like Saquon Barkley.
Go ahead,
Thanks. Did you consider matching their personnel, since they're bringing in Marcus Cannon? That seems like almost every down. In terms of adding an extra defensive lineman or something like that during those 2 drives, what was your thought process when you're seeing them go down?
Well, initially, the big thing is when Smith went down, when 81 got hurt, it kind of changed their whole game, their whole plan, and they really did a nice job. And like I said, that halfway through the 7th drive of the game, and then the entire 8th drive, we were on the ropes, and I do credit I credit our staff, I credit our players. We got everything cooled off, changed up on the sideline, and then, obviously went out, and they had 3 straight 3-and-outs. But yeah, those are part of in-game adjustments that have to take place. Whether an offense just randomly changes up, or if it's changed up due to injury, they did a nice job with that, and it took us about 14 plays to figure it out and change it up, but they did a nice job with that.
Hey Joe, I have to work with a bit of a know-it-all who has decided that you don't really care that much about stopping the run. Now, obviously that's preposterous, but is it possible that you've been
Is that the guy behind you that walked in late?
He's a know-it-all too.
You got to name who your guy is now.
All right, his name's Homer. But
It sounds appropriate.
you've been in this league a long time.
Yeah.
Has the priority of that changed? Like, we're talking about staying in the two shell, right?
Yeah.
And there is a lot of value in that. So has that evolved? Not that you don't care about it at all, but maybe it's not the same as when you came into the league and the first thing you would say every week is, we gotta stop the run. It's not, is it different now than it was before?
No, I mean, I think that I mean, in the last 20 years since I've been in the league, offense is definitely evolved. I mean, every aspect of it, personnel, obviously the run game in itself, just the philosophy of it that offenses have. I mean, you see it around the league with the numbers that people are putting up running the ball. But as far as our philosophy and you know, our individual mindset, you know, I think it always starts with stopping the run. You know, there's you know, if an offensive coach was standing up here, he'd say the same thing. You know, everything that they do starts off getting the run game going. So I really don't know. You know, we can fast forward 20 years from now. I think it would be the same thing. I always think it starts on whatever side of the ball you're asking the question to. It starts offensively with running the ball, and equally on defense, it starts with stopping the run. So that's definitely been our mindset. Now, obviously, people have different philosophies, 3-4, 4-3, you know, split safety, single high, you know, whatever. But no matter what kind of scheme or philosophy or principles that you play coverage-wise, you know, especially on early downs, it's always going to start with stopping the run. There's no doubt about it, and that's always been my philosophy in no matter what system I've ever worked in, and that will always be my belief.
Do you think it's gotten more difficult in some ways, the way offenses have evolved with RPOs and run solutions and stuff like that?
Yeah, but I mean, it's football's always evolving on both sides of the ball, and there's always something that's new and cutting edge, and then the defense catches up, and then some other offensive guru comes up with something else, and takes defenses a few years to catch up and figure it out. But that's the great thing about our sport and our game, is that it's never static. It's never the same. It's always evolving, and it's always changing.
Joe, sorry. How'd you think Rudy did jumping into Adrian's spot, and also, you know, for being here a month, how's he been kind of picking up, you know, your scheme and what you guys do?
Yeah, no, great question. You know, I think it's every team's exactly the same. You know, injuries unfortunately happen, lineup changes, you know, happen for whatever reason, and we've had our fair share with that, you know, over the last couple of years. And Rudy was the newest guy that had to go in. He was thrust into, you know, unfortunately we lost Adrian, and it doesn't matter if you've been here 1 week, 1 month, or a year. You're the next man up, and like I tell you guys all the time, we take the approach that, you know, we don't have backups, we have starters in waiting, because you never know when your opportunity is going to happen. And you know, I always credit not only the player, but you know, Coach Gray and Coach Downer do a great job in that room, as does our entire staff. And they've prepped the guys since the day he's got here with, you know, extra morning meetings and post-practice meetings, and getting him right and ready for, you never know when that opportunity happens. So, and Rudy came in and did a heck of a job for us. It was great.
Joe, I apologize for coming in late. I was making mediocre cable TV. You were talking about the run, and obviously Rashawn is one of your best players all around. How is he as a run player, and what role does he play in setting that edge?
Oh, I think Rashawn Gary is as complete a football player as there is in this league. You know, I mean, I think he's. I don't know what you guys feel, but I mean, to me, he's a dominant player, in no matter, you know, every down. You know, of course, in our league, you know, especially with those positions, with those rushers that they get classified as, you know, a lot of times those guys are just, you know, they're pass rushers, and you hope to, you know, get whatever you can get out of them in the run game. Rashawn Gary is as violent and physical, you know, an edge player on first and second down as he is a violent and, you know, productive pass rusher on third down. So I think he's as complete as there is in this league.
With
Devondre is obviously all rolled for you last year, and you would see it baking a bit against Tampa, but on a play-to-play basis, how do you think he's done this year? I mean, he's probably missed more tackles than he did all last year. I think teams are probably going after him in the passing game a bit more.
Yeah.
What have you seen there?
I don't know about that. I would have to go back and research that as far as after 4 games where he's at. But Devondre Campbell's our leader. He's our captain. He's our quarterback. He is everything to us. He's unbelievable on the practice field, in the locker room. Obviously on the sidelines, he was phenomenal. He has been phenomenal since the day he got here. So I mean, I think Dre. Of course, every player. There's calls that I wish I had back. You play the course of a 65-play game. There's going to be plays you wish you had back. But I think Dre's doing a phenomenal job for us, leading and being our middle linebacker, our quarterback of our defense.
Joe, did you notice the play clock go down in the touchdown to Devontae Parker on that play?
I notice and see all those things.
Did you notice?
And I make it very vocal on the sidelines. So,
Did you get an explanation from them, or did they just?
I'm not going to get into that. I got to be careful here. But yeah, I saw it as, I'm sure a lot of people saw it. Similar thing happened the week before.
And so on that play, did any of your guys stop, or was that just a?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna, no, we gotta, we gotta play that better. We gotta be better on that. But that was, you can individually ask them, if they saw that. But, we see those things. I mean, of course, we're in tune as everyone should be with, the clock, whether it's the play clock, the game clock, those are all things that we see.